Well, I'm live, and maybe you are, or maybe you are not, but happy to have you here. Today is Saturday. It's the first Saturday in August, and very excited to be here with you today. Looks like I need to move my mat a little bit. I'm going to go sideways to start because we are going to work on our backs for a bit. Today's digestion suggestions is not quite a flow. There's a bit of flow in it, but all of the bits and bobs, all of the poses, all of the breath work, where you put your eyes, all of this is part of improving digestion, whether that is the actual digestion whereby you have no problems digesting, or maybe it's sometimes you overeat, or perhaps you have some issues of slow digestion or quick digestion. You can interpret those as you like. Um, this yoga session is for you, even just make you feel good, and that's cool. All right, so we're going to start out. Join me on your back. I'm just going to shift my mat around a little bit so you can see it better. It's closer or farther away, We'll get that done. And on your back, you can bend your knees and put your feet on the ground. That kind of starts us off in a much nicer comfort posture. And I'm joining you there. There we are. And slowly relax. That might mean rolling your palms upward and arms outward. It might mean sneaking your shoulder blades down a little bit, letting the head get heavy. It might mean lifting the hips off the mat and then bringing the low back onto the mat. A hand on the belly and a hand on the heart. I'm gonna take a nice deep breath, filling up the belly first. And then the rib cage all the way around, and then the chest. And then we release. Second time. Let it go. And third time. Release. Hands flop out. You're going to bring your feet as wide as your mat and let the knees touch one another. I'm going to lift my arms so that they're shoulder height. It feels a little better to open up the torso on this torso twist. So we'll go ahead and draw the knees all the way to the right. They might not touch the ground, and that's okay. You don't want to take your left shoulder blade off the mat. Inhale, knees up, and exhale, drop them to the other side. Inhale, knees up and touch, and draw them over to the right again. Inhale, up, and exhale, other side. Final one. And back up. Bring your feet about wide hips distance and go ahead and hug the right knee in toward your chest. Give it a good squeeze with your hands or your forearms, and then maybe lift your head off the mat, tuck your chin a little bit, and bring it back down. Find ankle circles with that foot. But let's not ignore the left foot and leg. Let's ensure that the big toe mound is pressed into the earth. Both directions for your ankle circles. Open and close your toes. Give the leg another little squish toward you. We'll extend the leg toward the sky. Hands can come behind your thigh, your calf, or maybe you grab a hold of your toes if you have enough stretch, but try not to reach the head or the upper shoulder blades off the mat. If you have more space to work with, you can extend your left leg onto the mat. Alternate between pointing the toes and reaching the heel toward the sky. Glide the left foot back on the mat. Lower the leg, the right leg, just so the thighs are parallel, nice and slow. Draw the belly in. You might need to peek to see where they're parallel and hold. Press the low back into the earth and the shoulder blades into the earth. So go ahead and bend the right knee toward you. Hook the right ankle above the left knee. Activate both feet. You're pressing the big toe mound of the left foot into the ground. You could take your right hand and press your right thigh and knee away and down. But don't let the belly just kind of hang around. Draw the low back, low belly inward and upward. Or downward and upward. And then we move to a half happy baby. Taking hold of the inside edge or outside edge of your foot. Your arm can be inside your knee. Feels so nice along the psoas and the left thigh. And an opening of the right hip. If you like to play around a little bit with it, finding some movement or some knee circles, feel free. Extend that leg once again to the sky, and then bring the foot down to the mat. Take all that on the other side. A squeeze of the left knee inward, both hands, one hand, doesn't matter. Forearms, big toe mound of the right foot pressed to the earth. Ankle circles here, both directions. Leg extends to the sky. Toes up, heel up. Try that again. Maybe extend the right leg. Try to keep that low back on the ground. Right foot returns to the earth. We come halfway down so that the thighs are parallel. Make that nice and slow. And feel the work. A little bit of thigh, a little bit of belly. Rest and digest, apparently. All right, cross the left ankle above the right knee. Press the left knee and thigh away and down. Draw your low back toward the mat. And move into a half happy baby here. Both legs now into a full happy baby. Maybe a little massage of your low back, left and right. Legs up the sky, feet toward the sky, legs up the wall, virtually or literally, and your hands can come underneath your low back. Did you know that this is an inversion? Your feet are above your head, so you don't have to learn how to do a headstand or a handstand or a tripod. You can work this way, even with support against the wall. And going into an inversion can aid with digestion. It certainly aids with blood flow. I'm going to draw the knees into the chest, bring the feet back to the ground. Remove your hands from underneath you. Lift your hips off the mat and shift them over to the right. Now you're gonna gather the knees in toward your belly and drop them over to the left. If you like any variation on this twist, first go ahead and turn your head to the right. I can feel my hips popping, it's awesome. Let your gaze roll as far right as you can, and then you can take your adjustment or variation. I'm gonna go ahead and lengthen my right leg and bring my left hands to the outside of that knee. This starts to pull the twist into a deeper glute stretch. If both knees are not bent, make it so. Return to your spine, straighten it out as much as it would naturally be. And then we'll lift the hips, shift them to the left, hug the knees in and drop them to the right. Gaze moves over toward the left with your nose, with your face. Bringing that twist into the neck, and then we roll the eyeballs as far left as possible and take any variation that we did on the other side. Knees bend. Return to your spine. Feet to the ground to straighten out the spine as it normally would be, which might not be straight. Extend your legs onto the ground. Bring your hands by your sides, the palms down. Sneak the shoulder blades toward your hips. Release the lower back. On an inhale, reach your arms toward the sky, and on the breath out, let them settle heavily into your shoulders. Open the fingers wide, make fists. Take that a few times. With fists, you're going to find wrist circles. First one direction and then the other. Then we open the fingertips nice and wide and reach the arms overhead. That's a breath in. Stay here for the breath out. It's time to make a letter C, or you can call it a half moon or a quarter moon. So you're going to take your feet and you're going to walk them over to the left. So your bottom stays exactly where it is. You walk your feet as far left as you can, and then you move your arms as far left as you can. So it might not be a very deep curve. And we're opening up the right side of the body. This is so beautiful for the torso, for the intestines, for the stomach. While you are stretching, maybe all the way up to the armpit or the left pinky finger. Sorry, the right pinky finger. Gently make your way through center and take it to the other side. Feet to the right. Arms to the right. Find your space. Find your sheep. Inhale, come long. Draw your knees to your chest. Give them a good squeeze. Let the whole back round out. We're going to make our way to a seat. You're welcome to come to your side first or use a rocking and rolling method. Or maybe you can use rock and roll with the power of your arms to sit up in a seat. I'm going to bring the soles of the feet together. Sit up nice and tall. A form of Baddha Konasana. And I'm going to go ahead and shift my mat the long way. While you sit up nice and tall, gather your belly in, and press the knees out and down. If your knees are really high off the ground, you might place a prop under each side, under each thigh. In other words, you could put a blanket folded up or a pillow or an actual block underneath the knees and thigh. Now we're going to go ahead, scoop the belly in, round the back, and find a fold over your legs. Your elbows can help press your knees away and down. We're going to round up. Take your right hand and place it on the ground outside your right knee. You might find a little space there and see if you can get your arm to the floor, which I cannot without really popping up my left knee. But the idea here is to go ahead and find the left arm raised and take a nice open stretch here. Yeah, my left leg is really popped up because my hips are not that open, but that's part of what we'll be working on today. We're going to rise back up and take that to the other side. We'll rise back up and drop the left hand outside the right knee or thigh. Sit up really tall. Your right hand comes behind you, but it's not like a kickstand. It's just a guide. So you might come to your fingertips on that hand. Breathe in fully. Twist from the navel around to the right. Let the head continue all the way toward and past perhaps the right shoulder. Your eyeballs follow. Like you're taking that sly look out of the right side of your eyes. As you come forward, you're going to cross the right arm over the left. And then once again, find that groundedness and drop your head. We'll lift up and move into our twist on this side. Don't forget to sit up really tall. Finger tops on the ground behind you, very little weight. Shoulder is down, and we twist on the exhale from the waist. The head follows, and the eyeballs move as far left as possible. And return forward, this time left arm above the right. And we roll, scoop the belly in and fold. Rise up to your seat, legs widen. Toes point toward the sky. If you're kind of hunched over, see if you can get nice and tall. If you're leaning backward, gather in the belly and see if you can sit here for a moment, and we'll take a little stalk from the feet all the way to the low pelvis, the grounding chakra, the earth chakra, color of red. The material world, it's where things like the forest walks and hikes really feel good, even when there's not a lot of light above you. The low belly, the color orange. Any sensations there? This chakra is the chakra of production and reproduction and creativity. Guiding your awareness and your inventory upward to the place where the breastbone and the rib cage meets. Color yellow, fire. This is your decision making, your confidence, your sense of power over temptation.
up to the heart space, green, the heart chakra, the energy wheel of compassion and kindness, of unconditional love. And see if you can take that sense of unconditional love. Maybe you can find it by considering someone you love or something you love, like a puppy, unconditionally. And see if you can spread that throughout the body, all the way down to the toes, and maybe use the color green to support that. The throat, this chakra, the fifth, is blue. This is the energy wheel of communication, of a sort of cleansing, of letting go. The center forehead, place of intuition. You don't have to think about everything you do every moment of every single day. Things come to you. Sometimes we call it the gut feeling because we feel it in our gut, and that may be true. There's a combination of this mind, heart, gut that is supporting the intuition. This color is indigo, so a bit of bluey, purpley, black. I'm going to move up to the crown of the head, and maybe by focusing on the crown of the head, the color of lilac, this 1,000 petaled lotus, the final chakra, associated with consciousness. The forehead was space, the top of the head is consciousness. Maybe you feel a little tingling there. Bring your hands behind you. You're going to scoot your legs together and then drop on to your forearms. We're going to go ahead and stretch the torso, press into the forearms, draw the chest high so that the shoulders are coming away from your ears, and drop your head back. You could even point your toes. It's a fish pose. Working on this middle to upper back, stretching up the torso, aiding in the digestion by giving the digestive system space. We're going to rise back up, cross your ankles, roll over your feet, and come into your child's pose. Yes, this is a pretty gentle, pretty soft class. A part of that, the slowness and staying in each posture for an extra breath or so, is about being able to recall these digestion suggestions when you need them, or maybe even before you need them. Big breath in, huge breath out. A really nice place to go ahead and consider your intention for the day, or just your intention for the mat, or maybe your intention for the next 5 minutes. And every time we set an intention, don't think about it as a goal, but rather a sort of attitude. We have the tools it takes to bring that attitude into play, that intention, to make it live, make it real. Yoga, meditation, breath work, the physical practice, they're all part of our toolkit. We're going to take a curve again, so draw up to your fingertips so that elbows come off the mat. And as you exhale, walk the hands all the way to the left off your mat and drop the head back down. If you have space to work with along the right side of your body, you might stack the right hand on the back of the left. Draw those sitting bones down to the heels. On an inhale, come through to center. On an exhale, opposite side. Same thing. Return to center and make your way into sort of a tabletop, We're going to bring our bottom to our heels. You might place something under your knees or fold over your mat, or you might place something behind your knees, like a pillow. We're going to work on our wrists a little bit. So go ahead and flip onto the backs of your hands. Kneel upward and see if you can bring the outer edges of the wrists toward the mat. That might be plenty for you. It certainly is plenty for me. Press, 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 but without injuring yourself. And breathe. Your bottom can be off your heels at this point. And opposite side, palms come to the mat, fingers wide, and they could point outward-ish or more toward your knees, whatever is comfortable for you. Because now we want to bring the heels of the hands to the mat or toward the mat. Direction, not destination. One of my wrists won't do that. So there we are, maybe a little rocking. Hands return to the mat. We walk them forward a tiny bit, tuck the toes, come into a downward facing dog. Remember, this is your practice, so if there's anything that doesn't feel right for you today, you can go ahead and take a child's pose or tabletop or just stop doing what you're doing. This is something I won't demonstrate because of my left wrist, but you're going to peel forward into a high plank, and then you're going to come back to the downward dog. Second time, heart forward, high plank. Draw the belly in, breathe out, down dog. Inhale forward, high plank. And then slowly lower yourself all the way to the mat. Nose, chin, chest, hips, or knees, nose, chin, chest, hips. Say that 10 times fast. So we're all the way stretched out on the belly, on the mat. Arms come into a, actually, let's bring the hands, fingertips down, outside the mat, shoulder height. And then, you know those beautiful little, maybe you don't think they're beautiful, adorable little or not so bats with the long ears. Imagine your elbows are those ears pointing up toward the sky. If you have low back issues, bring your feet a little farther apart. We're not going to take a back bend quite yet. The first thing we're going to do is feel the bony hips connected to the earth. Second thing, without moving anything else, lift your belly away from the mat, just from the navel, like a little push-up, spidery push-up. And then draw your pelvis toward the mat. Feel that feel. Take 3 breaths. And then release. A very subtle change. So we're going to do that again. Draw the navel in toward your spine. Press your bony hips toward the floor. And now, breathe out. Stay there. And as you inhale, forehead, nose, chin, collarbones off the mat. You're on your fingertips. You're not using your arms a lot. Loosen the bottom. And we breathe 3. Draw the navel in. 2. And 1, come down to the mat, cactus shape arms so your forearms can come down. Turn your left ear to the mat. A little wiggle waggle of your bottom. Breathe in. Let it go. Forehead returns to the mat. Fingertips return to the floor just outside the mat and out, even with your shoulders. Elbows bend upward. Navel in. Bony hips down. Inhale, forward and up. Forehead, nose, chin, collarbones, chest. Maybe you go a little bit deeper. Loosen your bottom. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And all the way down to the mat, right ear on the mat, arms in a cactus shape. We're going to do one more. Forehead to the mat. Fingertips to the mat outside, to the ground outside the mat, shoulder even with your shoulders. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Draw the navel in. Inhale forward and up. All the way down to the mat and into a child's pose. Balasana 1 with your knees together, or Balasana 2 with your knees nice and wide. Tabletop. Right leg will float off the mat behind you. Square up your hips. Reach the heel away, finding balance, and then the left arm reaches in front. We pause. We activate the belly, activate the left glutes. Press the top of the left foot into the mat and reach the right heel away from you. Knee and elbow draw together nice and slowly. We're going to do this 3 times. Inhale, reach with the arm, reach with the heel, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. And again, knee to elbow. Breathe in, lengthen out. Keep that leg lifted, drop your left hand. Sweep that right leg above the left calf so the right foot comes outside the mat. Shoelace side of the foot onto the ground. And we glide that leg out and back until the front of the right hip comes close to the left heel. You might be on your forearms. This might be absolutely plenty for you, especially if you feel the glutes and maybe the hip opening. But if not, you can tuck the right toes under, float the knee off the mat, and then reach the heel away from you. Ooh, yeah. Rise back up, tabletop, knee to your right tricep. Inhale, lengthen out, and the knee comes down to the mat. Any motion or shape that feels good to you, take that here. And we meet back in our tabletop. Double T. This time, left leg floats behind, right arm in front, balance, squaring up your hips as much as possible, and then taking your slow cadence of knees to elbow. When your knee comes toward your elbow, you exhale. When they stretch away from one another, you inhale. That's 1. 2. 3. Left hand comes down. Right hand comes down. Left leg sweeps above the right calf. And we glide it out and back, bringing the front of the left hip toward the right heel. Forearms on the ground. And we take that extra stretch if we need it with toes tucked under and the knee floating away from the earth. A return to a 3-legged tabletop, knee to tricep. Inhale, extend, and knee to the mat. Let's sit back on our heels again. And once again, if you need props or whatever, feel free. We're going to do cats and cows from this posture. originating from here. If you prefer to do it on your hands and knees, feel free. So we're going to take the heels of the hands to the hip creases. And we're going to use the heels of the hands to sort of massage the thigh muscles. As we exhale, the heels of the hands come toward the knees. We round the spine. We tuck the chin. We round, round, round. Tuck the belly in. Inhale, come into a cow shape. Exhale, cat. Breathe in, cow. Watch your shoulders. Exhale, cat. One more round. Inhale. Heels of the hands toward the hips. Arch. And exhale, round. Beautiful. And return to your tabletop. You're going to step your left foot outside your left hand. Maybe a little angle here so the toes are maybe sneaking a little outside the mat and the heel is on the mat. Tuck your other toes. Bring your right foot outside your right hand. Knees are bent. So you can bring your palms to the ground and drop your head. Take a hold of an elbow in each hand, just very gently, and find a sway all the way up to stand. Drop your hands by your sides. Lift them out and up overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take that again. Drop your hands. Inhale, sweep out and up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. This time we'll move into a fold from that flow. Hands down. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, hands fold into the heart. Bend your knees and drop down to the floor. You might lengthen the legs. You might make your feet a little wider as we're going to come into either a malasana prep or a malasana, depending on how your thighs are. So your bottom drops, your knees bend out, your hands come to your heart, and you press the thighs away and back. Hands drop back to the ground. Lift your hips. Drop your head. Rise to stand. Exhale, forward fold. A halfway lift, long spine, knees might still be bent. Exhale, forward fold. In this wide-legged fold, you're going to straighten your left foot and step your right foot back. A wide runner's lunge. Shoulders back, belly away from your thigh. We're going to extend that front leg and fold over it. Then we'll peel the heart forward, runner's lunge, tap the back knee, and come back up. For a twist, right hand down, left arm high. On an exhale, left hand inside your left foot, maybe you point the toes out again, and come into your malasana squat. I like to move around one foot and then the other. And for some of us, you might need to bring your hands on the ground and that's where they stay. We're going to lift the hips, find our fold. This time we'll point the right toes straight forward. Halfway lift. Forward fold and the left foot steps back, runner's lunge. Situate your runner's lunge. Draw your belly energy away from your thighs, shoulders back. Extend your front leg, fold over it. Inhale, peel forward, runner's lunge. Tap your back knee. Straighten out. And step forward, forward fold. Rise up to stand, arms float high. We're almost back to the mat.
Breathe out, forward fold. A halfway lift. A forward fold. Step back to your high plank. Drop your knees. Breathe in. Breathe out. Keeping your hips directly over your knees. We're going to slink into our puppy dog, inchworm, kitty cat, whatever you want to call it, heart opener, officially called Anahatasana. So as your hands walk forward, you're bringing your forehead or your chin or your chest or all of those toward the mat, softening from behind the heart to reconnect with gravity, with nature, grounded, the whole body, not just the feet, not just the legs, not just the pelvis, but your whole body finding love as gravity kind of gives your heart a little tug, a little hug. Elbows draw outward if need be, especially if the shoulders are feeling a little grumpy. Draw your awareness back to your intention. Maybe roll your head a little left and right and kind of settle that into your gray matter, into your third eye, into your intuition, into your intuition. Very slowly, you're going to round your lower back a little bit by tucking your tailbone. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. Find your way to a seat. The best thing you can do after a back bend, especially a deep one, deep being relative, is to come into a twist. So we'll take the right heel, place it underneath the left thigh as close to your bottom as you can. You might maintain this for your twist, or if you have some space to work with, you can take the left foot and place it outside the right thigh. The closer your right heel is to your bottom, the better off you'll be. And the goal is to bring the toe mound of the left foot to the earth, and then maybe use your arm, elbow, or hand outside that leg so it doesn't drop away. Inhale, tall. Exhale, twist. Draw front and center. We're going to find a little hip opener by either finding a lotus, a half lotus, or stacked logs. I take stacked logs where the shins are as parallel as possible and the feet are activated with the toes toward one another. If you have a bind, any kind of bind that you'd like to take for a fold here, take that. Rise up seated, hands behind you, shift back onto your sacrum and switch the orientation of the legs for your twist on the other side. Remembering to sit up tall, to not rely so much with a ton of weight in that right hand, and press the big toe mound of the right foot into the ground. Twists are super great for digestion, but of course, especially if you're in your first trimester of pregnancy, no twisting. And then it's up to you after that and where you are health-wise and your baby might be health-wise, how deep you twist or not at all. Because sometimes that bump as you get into your later months of gestation makes it harder to fold, obviously,
because there's something in the way. All right, half lotus, full lotus, or stacked logs. We sit up nice and tall. And if you have a bind that was asymmetrical, you're going to take it the other way. If you don't have a bind, totally cool, but either way, find your fold. Rise up to your seat, lean back on your sacrum, unhook your legs, send them nice and long. Sit up really tall, arms in front, lock them into your shoulders. It's as if your heart is sort of giving everything past your feet and your fingertips. So when you exhale, you'll shift from the hips. Maybe you have to bend your knees a little. Shift from the hips, reaching with the heart, opening up the collarbone, shift from the hips, and then you can drop your head and your hands. Roll upright, roll back. If you need anything else, take 3 breaths in any other posture, and then meet in Shavasana. Perhaps in Shavasana now, a big, full, cleansing breath. Let anything remaining, any toxins, any tightness, any stress or concerns or worries, just let them go. Roll off the body. You're here, right now. Gratitude for the body that has done so much for you this week and so much in this practice. The body, the heart, the mind, getting you to your mat. Deepen the breath again. Let's give it a big, big inhale. Force the air out the mouth. A little stretch and wiggle in your toes, your hands, your ankles, your wrists. And then your choice of how you find your way to return to a seat. Hi again. We'll bring our hands to our heart as we sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes. Drop your chin a little bit. Come back to your attention. And then just explore what pieces of that, or maybe the whole thing, you could take off your mat with you today. Whether it's morning, noonish, late afternoon, or evening, doesn't matter. Just finding a few minutes of intention to bring more kindness into the world, less chaos, is a beautiful thing. We'll close with the sound of Om. Breathe in the air out of the lungs, and then we'll take a big breath in, followed by Om. Thumb knuckles meet the center of your forehead. May your body follow your mind, and may your mind be kind to your body. Namaste. It's great to have you join me. I hope you're feeling maybe more relaxed or maybe more comfortable around the digestive area. And remember, any of those postures, you don't have to do that whole sequence, but any of those postures can be yours at any time. You need them, and they are especially good for digestion. I hope you have a great
morning, day, afternoon, evening, week, month, whatever it might be. You take care. Bye.